Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Revealed. Leak uncovers global abuse of cyber surveillance weapon. Spyware sold to authoritarian regimes used to target activists, politicians, and journalists, data suggests. Stephanie Kirchgaisner, Paul Lewis, David Pegg, Sam Cutler, Nina Lakhani, and Michael Safi. Human rights activists, journalists, and lawyers across the world have been targeted by authoritarian governments using hacking software sold by the Israeli surveillance company NSO Group, according to an investigation into a massive data leak. The investigation by The Guardian and 16 other media organizations suggests widespread and continuing abuse of NSO's hacking spyware. Pegasus, that's the name of it, which the company insists is only intended for use against criminals and terrorists. Pegasus is a malware that infects iPhones and Android devices to enable operators of the tool to extract messages, photos, and emails, record calls, and secretly activate microphones. The leak contains a list of more than 50,000 phone numbers that it is believed have been identified as those of people of interest by clients of NSO since 2016. Forbidden Stories, a Paris-based nonprofit media organization, and Amnesty International initially had access to the leaked list and shared access with media partners as part of the Pegasus Project, a reporting consortium. The presence of a phone number in the data does not reveal whether a device was infected with Pegasus or subject to an attempted hack. However, the consortium believes the data is indicative of the potential targets NSO's government clients identified in advance of possible surveillance attempts. Forensic analysis of a small number of phones whose numbers appeared on the leaked list also showed more than half had traces of the Pegasus spyware. The Guardian and its media partners will be revealing the identities of people whose number appeared on the list in the coming days. They include hundreds of business executives, religious figures, academics, NGO employees, union officials, and government officials, including cabinet ministers, presidents, and prime ministers. The list also contains the numbers of close family members of one country's ruler, suggesting the ruler may have instructed their intelligence agencies to explore the possibility of monitoring their own relatives. The disclosures begin on Sunday with the revelation that the number of more than 180 journalists are listed in the data, including reporters, editors, and executives at the Financial Times, CNN, the New York Times, France 24, The Economist, Associated Press, and Reuters. The phone number of a freelance Mexican reporter, Cecilio Pineda Berto, was found in the list, apparently of interest to a Mexican client in the weeks leading up to his murder. When his killers were able to locate him at a car wash, his phone has never been found, so no forensics analysis has been possible to establish whether it was infected. NSO said that even if Pineda's phone had been targeted, it did not mean data collected from his phone contributed in any way to his death, stressing governments could have discovered his location by other means. He was among at least 25 Mexican journalists apparently selected as candidates for surveillance over a 2-year period. The consortium's analysis of the leaked data identified at least 10 governments believed to be NSO customers who were entering numbers into a system. Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Morocco, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, India, and the United Arab Emirates, or the UAE. Analysis of the data suggests the NSO client country that selected the most numbers, more than 15,000, was Mexico, where different government agencies are known to have bought Pegasus. Both Morocco and the UAE selected more than 10,000 numbers, according to the analysis suggested. The phone numbers which were selected, possibly ahead of a surveillance attack, spanned more than 45 countries across 4 continents. There were more than 1,000 numbers in European countries that the analysis indicated were selected by NSO clients. Without forensics examination of mobile devices, it is impossible to say whether phones were subjected to an attempted or successful hack using Pegasus. NSO has always maintained it does not operate the system that it sells to vetted government customers and does not have access to the data of its customers' targets. In statements issued through its lawyers, NSO denied false claims made about the activities of its clients, but said it would continue to investigate all credible claims of misuse and take appropriate action. It said the list could not be a list of numbers targeted by governments using Pegasus and described the 50,000 figure as exaggerated. The company sells only to military, law enforcement, and intelligence agencies in 40 unnamed countries and says it rigorously vets its customers' human rights records before allowing them to use its spy tools. NSO groups say it only sells spyware to vetted government bodies. 51% is sold to intelligence agencies, 38% to law enforcement agencies, and 11% to military. The Israeli Minister of Defense closely regulates NSO, granting individual export licenses before its surveillance technology can be sold to a new country. Last month, NSO released a transparency report in which it claimed to have an industry-leading approach to human rights and published excerpts from contracts with customers stipulating they must only use its products for criminal and national security investigations. There's nothing to suggest NSO's customers did not also use Pegasus in terrorism and crime investigations, and the consortium also found numbers in the data belonging to suspected criminals. However, the broad array of numbers in the list belonging to people who seemingly have no connection to criminality suggests some NSO clients are breaching their contracts with the company, spying on pro-democracy activists and journalists investigating corruption, as well as political opponents and government critics. That thesis is supported by forensics analysis on the phones of a small sample of journalists, human rights activists, and lawyers whose numbers appear on the leaked list. The research conducted by Amnesty Security Lab, a technical partner on the Pegasus project, found traces of Pegasus activity on 37 out of the 67 phones examined. The analysis also uncovered some sequential correlations between the time and date a number was entered into the list and the onset of Pegasus activity on the device, which in some cases occurred just a few seconds later. Amnesty shared its forensics work on 4 iPhones with Citizen Lab, a research group at the University of Toronto that specializes in studying Pegasus, which confirmed they showed signs of Pegasus infection. Citizen Lab also conducted a peer review of Amnesty's forensic methods and found them to be sound. The consortium's analysis of the leaked data identified at least 10 governments believed to be NSO customers who were entering numbers into a system. Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Morocco, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, India, and the United Arab Emirates, or the UAE. Okay. I already read that. Okay. The analysis of data suggests the NSO client country that selected the most numbers, more than 15,000, was Mexico, where multiple different government agencies are known to have bought Pegasus. Both Morocco and the UAE selected more than 10,000 numbers, the analysis suggested. The phone numbers that were selected, possibly ahead of a surveillance attack, spanned more than 45 countries across 4 continents. There were more than 1,000 numbers in European countries that the analysis indicated were selected by NSO clients. I know I read that. I just wanted to read it again so you guys pay attention and understand this is serious. The presence of a number in the data does not mean there was an attempt to infect the phone. NSO says there were other possible purposes for numbers being recorded on the list. Rwanda, Morocco, India, and Hungary denied having used Pegasus to hack the phones of the individuals named on the list. The governments of Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, the UAE, and Dubai did not respond to invitations to comment. The Pegasus project is likely to spur debates over government surveillance in several countries suspected of using the technology. The investigation suggests the Hungarian government of Viktor Orban appears to have deployed NSO's technology as part of his so-called war on the media, targeting investigative journalists in the country as well as the close circle of one of Hungary's few independent media executives. The leaked data and forensic analysis also suggests NSO Spy 2 was used by Saudi Arabia and its close ally, the UAE, to target the phones of close associates of the murdered Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. In the months after his death, the Turkish prosecutor investigating his death was also a candidate for targeting, the data leak suggests. Claudio Guarnieri, who runs Amnesty International Security Lab, said once a phone was infected with Pegasus, a client of NSO could in effect take control of a phone, enabling them to extract the person's messages, calls, photos, and emails, secretly activate cameras or microphones, and read the contents of encrypted messaging apps such as WhatsApp, Telegram, and Signal. So how Pegasus infiltrates a phone and what it can do. Basically, it attacks vectors. Pegasus can be installed on a phone through vulnerabilities in common apps or by tricking a target into clicking a malicious link. Messengers, WhatsApp, iMessage. Once installed, Pegasus can theoretically harvest any data from the device and transmit it back to the attacker. So basically, by accessing GPS and hardware sensors in the phone, he added NSO's clients could also secure a log of persons' past movements and track their location in real time with pinpoint accuracy. For example, by establishing the direction and speed a car was traveling in. The latest advances in NSO's technology enabled it to penetrate phones with zero-click attacks, meaning a user does not even need to click on a malicious link for their phone to be infected. Guarnieri has identified evidence NSO has been exploiting vulnerabilities associated with iMessage, which comes installed on all iPhones and has been able to penetrate even the most up-to-date iPhone running the latest version of iOS. His team forensics analysis discovered successful and attempted Pegasus infections of phones as recently as this month, Apple said. Security researchers agree iPhone is the safest, most secure consumer mobile device on the market. NSO declined to give specific details about its customers and the people they target. However, a source familiar with the matter said the average number of annual targets per customer was 112. The source said the company had 45 customers for its Pegasus spyware. Additional reporting: Dan Sabah in London, Sean Walker in Budapest, Angelique Chrysophis in Paris, and Martin Hodgson in New York. Show your support for the Guardian's fearless investigative journalism today so we can keep chasing the truth. So the technological leaps of this century have fueled social movements and democratized access to information around the world. This is a value we at the Guardian take. This is a value that the Guardian takes serious, which is why they don't put up a paywall and instead keep their independent journalism open and free. But the same technology has also been exploited by the powerful to seize their personal information, manipulate their behavior, and surveil dissent. From the Snowden revelations to the Cambridge Analytica scandal and their ongoing scrutiny of big tech, the Guardian has a long track record of exposing how technology can abuse democracy and human rights. If that is a mission that everybody appreciates, you can join them today. So basically, they're just letting you know in the Guardian that you guys can support by $1, to support the Guardian and all that stuff. Okay, let's get to the gist of this. They've been hacking people's phones and doing all of that. They've been doing that. There's nothing new. They do it to us. And they're basically using this stuff to basically quiet a lot of people giving information out on on certain journalists or certain witnesses, because let's say they're trying to prosecute somebody. Basically them trying to they're trying to stop somebody. They really can't, because what this does is it gives them a pinpoint accuracy on who to go after, who to take out. So then that will help the person that they're trying to throw into jail. So also this could also knock off certain people in government who may be in the way of what the agenda is to push. If you're trying to stop the agenda from being pushed, that's when you become a problem. That's when you become a threat, and that's when they have to take care of you. So be careful, guys. Like I said, this doesn't really have nothing to do with us, but they could be targeting anybody who's speaking the truth. You know, so and then the NSO and other countries aren't trying to tell you who they go after because they don't want to give themselves up. They want to be able to control the media, and that's what they do in America. They control the media. They want to have control. That's how it is globally. It's not about the money, it's about control. I keep telling people that. If you don't have any control, what's the point in money? There's no point in money. You want control. Okay? You want control. And if you don't have control, everything is pointless. So just wanted to give you guys something different. Be careful of apps that you're using because they've been taking our information for years. Like if you go online shopping, they take that information and they send it off somewhere. That's what they've been doing. They've been doing this forever. So this is nothing new, but Pegasus is something that affect mostly those who are billionaires, millionaires, or people in power who's trying to get somewhere. Who's trying to make some moves, trying to exert their power. This program is actually able to keep them in check or to target people who are talking or who's giving information out, because a lot of these journalists, the real journalists, are putting out the truth, but they're getting backlash for it and they're getting stopped from giving their truths out. So with Pegasus, what it does is it helps shut them up. It's already been some murdered already. Allegedly behind this, allegedly. So thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this, hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you love what you hear, you can donate to the page by Cash Apping me at the word welcome, the number 2, and then HDI TV. Thank you for listening, and we're out. Deezy.